everybody. So today we're going to talk about ROOG by Philip K. Dick. This is, I believe it's his first story published, but the second one that he sold. Or that's flipped. It's the first one he sold, but the second one was published. I'm not sure which. Either way, it's like his second success as a writer. It did get published, definitely. The previous story that we did, I don't believe was published until much, much later. It could have even been published after he passed away. I'm not sure. But this was published back in 1951. This story, ROOG. It's ROOG. And it's a great little story. I really enjoyed reading it. When my brother figured out which one I was reading next, he's like, "Oh, you're going to love that story." Because he knows I like animals. So ROOG is the story of a dog that is protecting his family's home. By his family, I mean the humans that have him. Is protecting his group's home. He, of course, because he's a dog, he has a completely different take on the world than you or I would as humans. So it's really neat to kind of see things from the dog's point of view. It starts off, as always, with Philip K. Dick, it starts off a bit confusing, you know. Not really sure what's going on. It's great. The dog says ROOG. And then this little ROOG appears. And it's coming towards the house. And the ROOG is aware of the dog, and he's nervous about the dog. And it's a small ROOG. It's not a normal size ROOG. It's a mini ROOG, right? And the ROOG is nervous of the dog, but it comes up and it comes down the walk. I couldn't quite figure out what the layout was of the house, but I feel like the backyard has a fence that comes up the side of the house and then goes across to the house. But the front, anybody can access. So the dog's over here. He can see people, but he couldn't attack this small ROOG because he's locked behind this fence, I think. So this mini ROOG comes up the walkway, kind of toward the front door. And the dog is nervous about the mini ROOG, and then the ROOG looks up at the window of the house as if they're trying to peer into the house, and the dog freaks out. And the mini ROOG gets nervous and it takes off. It's okay. I've got a crazy cat again. It's all right. Look out the window. Yeah. Do you want to meet everybody? This is Chaplin. Chaplin likes to get in trouble and play around, especially when we're making videos. Good job. I love you. Go play. All right. So, the mini ROOG takes off, and then we cut into the house, and the adults in the house are just waking up. It's dawn. And the one of them says, "Did you get the paper yet?" And the other one says, "No, I haven't." And so the other person goes outside and gets the paper, talks a little bit to the dog, like a human would. He's like, "Hey, put that tongue back in your mouth," or some silliness. And then he goes back in the house. And we kind of realized that the ROOG that the dog was trying to get rid of was the paper boy. So that's the way the dog perceives the world and other humans. He doesn't associate other humans like the humans that he has. So the one goes off to work, and the other one stays at home and takes care of the house. A tiny tangent. I'm trying to avoid tangents because I go crazy with them, but this is a tiny one that I do want to bring up. I don't like to glorify the past. You know, I don't want to say the 50s were wonderful or anything crazy like that, because the 50s were horrible for a lot of people and good for some people, right? But I do appreciate that with the way inflation has gone, I appreciate that back in the 50s, it seems like for some people, the ability for one person to work was enough to buy a house, have a car, and feed a family. Whereas nowadays, I don't feel like that's possible with one person anymore. At least not as possible as it used to be. I think inflation has kind of gotten away from us, and our salaries have not kept up. But that's a whole other thing. So, anyways, one of them goes to work, the other one stays at the house. While one of them's at work and the other one's in the house, two more Roogs show up to the house. I opened the window. I hope that sound isn't bothering everybody. The cats want to look out the window, so I opened the window. Two more Roogs show up to the house, and they're watching the dog. And they say strange things. They say things like, as soon as that urn is full, we're going to come back and we're going to accept that offering. We're going to take that offering as ours. And the dog is like, oh, no, oh, no. And they say things like, with all these guardians around, referring to the dog, they call the dog a guardian. With all these guardians around, it's very difficult to collect our urns because they're so protective of them. And one of them suggests we probably would have better luck if we were collecting urns up north. And then the other one says they made the decision. They have decided that this is where we collect urns, which is very, very bizarre. And they pull out a map. They're looking at the map. And then those two, they, with a warning to the dog, we'll be back tomorrow. We're going to collect this urn and you better let us in. Then they wander off, right? And the dog is all paranoid and scared sitting there. And then evening comes, the person comes home who left and talks for a moment to the dog and then goes inside the house. And in the house, the adults talk about how they don't understand why their dog is getting so upset lately and why it's being so loud, and they think that they might have to get rid of it because the neighbors are complaining. It's becoming a problem. So they go to bed, and the next morning, as the sun's coming up, these four Roogs arrive. And they come down the path, but then they literally come in the gate with the dog. And the dog backs up. And they take the urn and they dump everything out. And it's all food, right? There's eggshells and all kinds of stuff in this thing. And they eat it. They start shoveling it into their mouths. But also, they dump it onto this huge blanket, and they each grab a corner and they pick it up like they're going to carry it away. And the dog's freaking out, barking, saying, Roog, Roog, Roog. And inside the house, the adults are laying in bed thinking, why won't that dog shut up? I don't know what I'm going to do with this crazy dog, because he's waking up the whole neighborhood, of course. Roog, Roog, Roog. And one of the Roogs looks up at the house, once again, like he's trying to peer into the house, and the dog freaks out and runs towards them, and that freaks them out, and they all go outside the gate and shut the gate. And the dog jumps up on the gate and keeps barking at him. And then one of the Roogs says, I can't wait till these guardians are gone. And the other one says, just have some patience. It won't be long before this guardian's gone. Besides, we have enough to fill up our truck. And they take their blanket and they head off towards the truck. And that's the end of the story, right? It's very kind of strange point of view story. And that's kind of what I've taken from it, to be honest, is the idea that we kind of choose the way we see the world. We may not be conscious of it. And that's the beauty of a story like this, is it can help us become more conscious of the way that we view things, the way that we choose to view the world, right? So um, a few extreme examples, right? Like right now, there's a lot of talk, just because of this math experiment that was done. There's a lot of talk about how there's a small chance that we are all actually living in a simulation. This reality is not real at all, and that idea has been around forever, right? Thank, uh, Mostly probably because of Philip K. Dick. To be honest, I feel like most of his stories deal with some kind of altered reality, right? Total Recall. Total Recall is a good example by Philip K. Dick. That's of course based on a short story by him, which we haven't read yet. But he's always dealt with this idea of alternate realities. So those are extreme examples, the Matrix and things like that, where you just wake up in a whole new reality or whatever. But there's also really subtle examples, like even last night I was talking to my brother, and I made some stupid comment about. It bothers me when people say that you shouldn't put politics into science fiction because most all science fiction is politics. And my brother said, well, it's possible that you just see politics in a lot of things, right? Which, of course, is completely true, right? I don't know that the politics that I see in things were the true, definite intention of the writer. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, we have a set idea of the way things should go and the way things should look. And even if things aren't quite matching up with that, we will still force it into that scenario just so that we can feel comfortable, you know? And I think it's really wise and neat to see stories like this where we can realize maybe we don't understand what's truly happening right there. Maybe there's more to it than I'm aware of. And I really love that the story's basically told from the dog's point of view because the Roogs, I mean, the Roogs do crazy things to this dog. You know, they say crazy things to the dog that two garbage men would not be saying. You know, garbage men don't call trash cans urns, right? I mean, that's not a thing. But in the story, that's the kind of language that they're using, which is neat that it's really, really showing the dog's point of view, which suggests that the humans are the ones that are confused about what's actually happening. I mean, they literally eat the trash in front of the dog, you know, and we don't see garbage men eating our trash because that's insane, you know. Um, so that was neat. I think this is a really great story. And I'm kind of excited that the first two that we've done are really early because it's going to be really neat to see him progress as a writer, you know, because I know that these are not the same kind of quality and power that we might get from a later Philip K. Dick story, but they're still good. They're still super fun. And it will be neat to see his progression as a writer. All right, thank you so much for watching, honestly. And if you enjoy it, please hit the like button. And if you want to be aware of when more stuff comes out, right now we're doing this weird thing where all of our videos have the same picture, which could get confusing. So if you hit the subscribe button, at least you'll know, oh, there is something new, even though it looks the same. We'll also try to give them different names, of course. I don't like the little thumbnails where you're like, you know, right in the middle of the video. I mean, you got to pick one, and all three look horrible. So you really kind of got to put a picture up there. Yeah. So please enjoy the video. Let us know. Leave us comments, and have a great day.